Welcome to the Rimworld mod rundown. We'll be taking a quick look at what you can expect to see from Vanilla Races Expanded, Hussar. For starters, you'll need to own the Biotech DLC to make use of Vanilla Races Expanded content, as well as the workshop content, Vanilla Expanded Framework, and Harmony. This mod is pretty straightforward. You're looking at a revamp for the original Hussar xenotype that was added in Biotech and an all-new edition of the Ulan xenotype. I'd say for the most part, this is a straight buff to the Hussar, so let's quickly run down what the vanilla xenotype of a Hussar is all about. They're warriors, through and through, bred for combat with all of the strength to keep them acceptable for construction and crafting, but far too bulky to work with delicate things like plants or sculpture. They're loud, and a little rude, the gym bro that gives you an affectionate nickname that they know you actually hate. If you tell them to stop using it, you'll find yourself put through a wall. Whilst happy in most climates, even surviving somewhat toxic environments, your Hussar is a genetically engineered, unstoppable, rapidly healing killing machine. The secret behind their power? It's drugs, okay? It's shitloads of drugs. If they're not topping up their go juice every few days, they'll start to grow weary and eventually they die because of the shame of losing their mad gains. So what could you add on to make a Hussar even stronger? A testicle-based carnivore diet? No, nothing quite as ridiculous as that. You give them a mind so focused they don't break when drafted, a body so used to wearing armour that it doesn't affect their movement, even in the heaviest cataphract gear. They all come with a unique weapon that they love, something they're ridiculously adept with above all others. And with all of this talent comes a heavy dose of arrogance, making other colonists tired of hearing about how great their not at all steroid-induced powers are, leading to more colony disruption and frequent social fights. And finally, you get bulletproof skin, which is both a blessing and a curse. Let's talk really quickly about this gene specifically and why it's actually more of a negative. In Rimworld, the easiest things to build armour against are sharp and heat. We can ignore heat for this example, let's focus on sharp and what this gene is specifically doing to sharp damage. It's turning some sharp damage into blunt damage. If any attack trying to inflict sharp damage has less than 20% armor penetration, it instead tries to apply blunt damage. Great! Blunt damage can be considered less dangerous, because it won't cause bleeding. It may still mangle limbs or cave your chest in, but it won't rip your colonists to shreds and have them bleed out before they make it to the hospital bed. But you're more likely to have armor that would have protected and more likely negated that low penetration sharp damage. Compare the stats on normal marine armour, 106% sharp and 45% blunt. If someone is firing a short bow at you, it now hits your blunt armour value instead because it only has 16% penetration. That means you've gone from using your 106% armour value to a 45, and you're still being hit for the same amount of damage. At a glance, genes like this can look helpful, but actually, it's a trap! Just thought it was worth mentioning, as sometimes Rimworld math is actually working against you in the background. So that's the Hussar, but what's this I hear of an Ulan? If a Hussar is a baseliner on steroids, an Ulan is a Hussar on steroids with an extra scoop of protein powder in their gym shaker. A similar base of genes, dialed up to 11. They have murder on the mind rather than simple social fights, and a thirst for blood that will need satiating when possible. Whilst Hussar can shrug off small arms fire, the Ulan are naturally tough, and their giant bodies make their limbs and digits able to sustain more damage before breaking. They've sprouted wings, like Raziel from Soul Reaver, which is apt because they don't actually allow them to fly, only better navigate any movement obstacles that may be on the floor. So let's talk about the big two here. No more go juice dependency. Not only have they kicked that habit, they've become part go juice. Immune to potential addiction with no risks of overdose. But sometimes the devil you know is better than the devil you don't. Ulan need Luciferium. This isn't strictly a downside. Ulan are also immune to a Luciferium addiction, which means they're actually better than someone who is addicted to it. A baseliner on Luciferium would need a dose every 6 days, otherwise their brain is going to explode after withdrawal-induced berserker rampages. An Ulan could technically be kept around for 29 days before they'd need to administer a fresh dose. They'd be woozy after 10, comatose after 20, and nearing death on day 30. But that is 5 times the life expectancy of a baseliner who couldn't get their fix. As Luciferium is such a hard commodity to come by, without other mods anyway, it may be worth considering letting your Ulan only get their fix if they're suffering from a deficiency during a raid, or about to slip into that day 30. So there you go. The genetically engineered super soldiers of the Rim are now even more deadly with the help of this mod. What's the most ridiculous enemy that you've been able to solo with an Ulan? Or rather, now that you've seen what these monsters can do, how many raids do you reckon you can solo before it won't be hilarious anymore? Thanks for watching, folks. If you have any mods you'd like to see a full breakdown for, or any suggestions of mods you'd like to see covered, feel free to leave them in the comments. I might get around to them. I'll be back again soon with another Rimworld mod rundown. Wherever you are in the world, enjoy the rest of your morning, afternoon, or evening. Take care.